Hi traders, I just want to give you another recap of today's trading with the Elite Range Bar system. This is basically how I traded the day today, and not the easiest of days. Definitely, this is a very range-bound day. As you can see, it's a tough day for beginners because beginners usually like to follow the trends. But there was definitely a lot of opportunity available if you had the right type of setups that you were taking, some intermediate setups, some false breaks, that sort of thing, which we do have in our system. So there was definitely some opportunity available, but the average pips per trade was pretty low today, and you definitely like to see it a little bit higher, and that includes wins, losses, break evens, all of that. But a little bit low today, but still a number of trades just because of how much it was ranging. And so there were still some all right pips to be made. As you can see, I had 8 trades today on the EU range bar 3 chart, the 3 pip range bars, 5 wins, 1 break even, couple losses, and a total of 59 pips. So that's after spread, which isn't too bad for range bound day. A lot of traders will do well in trending days and get totally crushed in ranging days because they'll just keep trying to play trends. We have setups for those sort of conditions when things are ranging, when we see, price going on to extremes and snapping back. And so there was opportunity to take advantage of that. So let's look through a little bit. The first trade today was a type 2 that was right around the earliest time I usually like to take a trade, which is around 6:30 in London. Sometimes I trade around 6, but usually I like that 6:30 to get something to lead into the Frankfurt Open, which happened pretty nicely here. It's a trade I maybe wouldn't have taken normally if it wasn't for this big move that we had going on in Asia, kind of late Asia sort of area there. And so it's just mostly a continuation of that, but did fit some of our criteria that we look for in terms of false breaks. And from there, I took that one. I should have done a lot better. It was a bad trade for the first one. I wanted to see if Frankfurt would follow through a little bit more, but it snapped back. And so I did not get the best exit. I got 7 pips out of, I believe it was a possible, I think I was up even 15 at one point. Yeah, I was up around 15 after spread, and I let that come back a fair bit. So that was unfortunate. After that, I did try to take a type 1. This is not the best type, mostly because it was London Open, so I was hoping that that this would have a little bit of power to it, but it held at this previous area. And these are always a little bit risky because the market's so flat. We're in the middle of the range, so if it doesn't keep going, you don't really want to hold on to those. And basically came back on me. I let it come back the one time, and then it came down again, and I just took the break even on that. From there was this thumbs down. Is just because it's right into this problem level. I had no interest in trying this one into that level. If I, even if I had taken it, I would have been out for very, very small loss as soon as it rejected. Then here I did try a continuation. Always a little bit risky when you're trading into the 50s, the 00s, and this one did not follow through. And so I did take a basically full loss on that, minus 5 pips. But I liked what I was seeing here in terms of this holding, and it did come up with a type 2 / type 3 setup. It kind of covered both setup types, which are generally very strong setups. And so I did take this one, and I took it long, and because of the strength of it, I was definitely looking to hold. And I wanted to try for this area up here, because you can see how strong it was. As far as support and resistance goes, I definitely like using it for my trade management. I like using it for targets if I can. So that was my original plan. But when we came up here, we did pop through a little bit and gave it a little bit of a fight, but we weren't coming down. So I just held on, and I should have done maybe a bit better because we came to such an extreme. We basically had an exhaustive spike up there where I probably should have exited and done a little bit better, but I let it come back a bit on me, and so I got less pips, potentially probably about 30 pips available on that. And there are some traders that I know who trade this system who just set it, if it goes to 30, they just take it. And that's something you can do as well. Something I often do myself. You'll see a lot of my trades are kind of right around that 30, but let that one come back a little bit on me. And this thumbs up here too was actually a continuation for the trend that you could have taken. There was a little bit of room there where you could have had small right pips. So that was a decent trend trade as well. Then I did take this one. This is a type 1, even though I forgot to mark it here. This one I did get some pretty good pips on as well. And one thing I wanted to point out is because you can see how strongly this move came down here. This was something where I believe that when you get a leg like that, you're generally going to get a second decent leg. So I was definitely hoping for these lows that we saw down here before at the 50. And so even though things were kind of chopping around a bit, but it didn't come back too far on me. It came back a little bit here, came down, came back a little bit here. So basically I mentally moved my stop above this level, and this is kind of the blue line here, and just was going to, if it came back, I was going to take basically a half loss, 3 pips or so, and just try and wait it out to see if we could make it down. It did take a little bit of time, and it chopped a bit, but eventually did break through and came through it pretty strongly. And then from there, we kind of had a bottoming pattern here where I exited for my 16 pips. So not bad, but definitely a pretty long wait on that trade. And from there, I took a type 2, kind of an intermediate style of trade that did not work out very well for me. It failed pretty much right away, and so I bailed a little bit early because it was failing so quickly. It didn't even come up to the 50. But a full loss there could have been taken, wasn't too big a deal. And I like that because it's right around New York Open 1. I like those sort of trades, the type 2s, type 3s around New York Open 1, New York Open 2. And so I did try it again when we had another type 2, type 3 set up. The strong one that we had before happened again. And this one popped up pretty strongly. And this one I actually took the pips right in here. I didn't mark it. But the first time I did not take my pips up here. It came down so hard. Did not come down to my break-even point, and then it just came up again, and as it came down the second time, I took my pips. And there was a possibility for a trade here that I did not take. I just was not, I just missed it. Didn't really do much anyways. I probably would have maybe been break-even or had a few pips on that. And from there, we did a lot of chop through New York until we saw the New York Open 2, which often we see that chop leading into the New York Stock Exchange Open. And we came down and had another type 2 trade down here, which ended up going quite well and heading up into the, once again, into the resistance area, which I mentioned is a good place where I look to take some profits. So because of how range bound we were, I was taking some small profits for the most part today, but that worked out quite well in this situation. And there's actually another potential short in here, but those are the ones I took. So pretty good. There was definitely more trades available than what I actually got. There was also some trades on some of the other pairs, but pretty solid day for a range-bound day on EU range bar 3. For the, as I said, the slightly more experienced trader can do pretty well in those sorts of conditions, even when you don't have many trending moves in the day. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. Any questions or anything, you can let me know. You can check out the website at samuraiforextrading.com, and you can always send me an email on that as well. So thanks a lot, guys. Bye.